Picture this for a second. You just signed a contract worth $40 million for a single movie. Your bank account holds a number most people on this planet will never see in their lifetime. You're young, famous, and it feels like the money will never run out. Then 10 years later, almost everything is gone. Not because you got scammed. Not entirely because of an economic crisis, but mostly because you spent it all yourself. This isn't fiction. This is the true story of Nicolas Cage, one of the highest paid actors in Hollywood history. In this video, I'm not just going to tell you about a star who blew his fortune. I want you to see what's hiding beneath the surface of this story. By the end, you'll understand why the highest earners are often the first ones to lose everything. You'll recognize the psychological trap that most of us fall into the moment we start making money, whether it's a little or a lot. And you'll walk away with something no business school will ever say out loud. But before we get into it, I want you to ask yourself one question. If your account had $150 million in it today, are you sure you wouldn't do the same thing? Keep that question in the back of your mind. We'll come back to it at the end. The 1990s were the years Nicolas Cage owned Hollywood. The Rock, Con Air, Face/Off, Snake Eyes, National Treasure. Every title was a box office explosion. Every contract was tens of millions of dollars. At his peak, he was pulling in $40 million in a single year, a number that made even major corporations stop and stare. At that point, Nicolas Cage was the definition of success. Fame, money, power. He had it all. Then he started buying houses, not one to live in, not two, as investments. He bought 15, scattered across the United States and into Europe. In Las Vegas, he owned a massive estate sitting in the middle of the desert. In New Orleans, he bought 2 mansions side by side, just because he liked the feeling of owning an entire corner of the street. In San Francisco, another one overlooking the bay. And in Europe, he purchased Niedstein Castle in Germany, a structure standing for hundreds of years, thick stone walls, watchtowers rising into the sky. The kind of castle you only see in period films. Sounds impressive, but here's the detail most people overlook. He almost never stayed in any of these properties. Buy it, leave it, then go find the next thing to buy. This is the first sign, and the most dangerous one, of a very common financial disease. Buying not to use, buying to feel. If he had stopped at real estate, maybe the story wouldn't have gone this far. But Nicolas Cage didn't stop. He kept spending on a list that, if you read it for the first time, you'd think was a comedy script. A collection of classic and exotic cars spanning dozens of vehicles. Ferrari, Lamborghini, Rolls-Royce alongside vintage models with only a few dozen left in the entire world. Multiple yachts docked at the most expensive marinas in America. A private jet, because flying commercial wastes time. 2 king cobras kept inside the house as pets. And most remarkably, a pet octopus worth $150,000. When asked why he bought an octopus, Nicolas Cage answered straight. He believed that observing an octopus helped him understand acting on a deeper level. But the story doesn't stop there. At an auction, he dropped $276,000 on an ancient dinosaur skull, and the person he outbid that day was Leonardo DiCaprio. The story has an ironic ending. The skull was later identified as smuggled goods from Mongolia, and Cage voluntarily returned it to the authorities. He was never charged with any wrongdoing, but the $276,000 was never refunded. He also held a collection of ultra-rare comic books worth millions, kept in glass cases, rarely taken out. Add it all up. The total wealth that once peaked at $150 million had nearly evaporated entirely. Looking at this list, what do you see? I see a man trying to fill something empty on the inside with things on the outside. Not investing, not building. This is emotional spending at a Hollywood scale. 2009. The truth arrived without warning. The IRS sent a notice to Nicolas Cage. Years of accumulated tax debt came crashing down all at once. But that wasn't all. In 2008, the American real estate market collapsed. His properties lost value fast. He later admitted openly, the real estate market crashed, and I couldn't get out in time. 15 properties, things that were supposed to be assets, suddenly became massive liabilities the moment the market turned. Banks started moving in. Cheap properties were seized or sold off at a loss one by one. The castle in Germany, gone. The mansions in New Orleans, lost. The car collection, liquidated. Nicolas Cage responded by suing his business manager, Samuel Levin, claiming bad advice and mismanagement. But the court didn't side with him. The ruling was clear. No one forced Nicolas Cage to buy anything. Every decision had his signature on it. That was the bitterest moment in this entire story. When you want to blame someone else, but the mirror in front of you only reflects yourself, this story leaves three things worth sitting with. The first, Nicolas Cage never had a problem with money coming in. He had no control over money going out. This is something most people won't look at honestly. Earning more doesn't fix a financial problem. If the mindset doesn't change, a higher income just means you'll lose money at a larger scale. The second, 15 houses no one lives in aren't assets. They're liabilities. A centuries-old castle in Europe burning through maintenance costs every month. Not an asset, a trap. A $150,000 octopus. An ancient dinosaur skull voluntarily returned with no refund. None of it generated a single dollar of income. Real assets work for you, even when you're asleep. Everything else, you're just paying to keep it. The third, every time Nicolas Cage bought something strange and expensive, he wasn't making a financial decision. He was buying a feeling and paying real money for it. The rush of outbidding Leonardo DiCaprio at auction. The feeling of standing in front of a centuries-old European castle as its owner. Those feelings lasted a few hours. The bills stayed forever. And this doesn't only happen to Hollywood stars. Buying expensive shoes when the account is nearly empty. Upgrading a phone, the old one still works fine. Booking a fancy restaurant just to post on social media. That's a smaller version of the exact same trap. Here's the part I think will surprise most people. After losing almost everything, Nicolas Cage didn't disappear. He didn't retreat from the public. He didn't give interviews feeling sorry for himself. He went back to work, and he said it straight, without hiding it. He was working to pay off his debt. From 2010 to now, he has taken on over 60 film projects, averaging nearly 5 movies a year. Many were panned by critics. Many went straight to streaming without a theatrical release. He didn't care. What matters more, he never filed for bankruptcy. Never asked for debt forgiveness. Never looked for a way out. He paid back every dollar himself through his own effort, one film at a time. Losing money isn't the end. What truly finishes a person isn't losing money. It's losing the will to start over. Nicolas Cage lost nearly everything because he let emotion drive his wallet. But he rebuilt his life through discipline and honesty with himself. Now let's go back to the question I asked at the beginning. If your account had $150 million in it today, are you sure you wouldn't do the same thing? The honest answer doesn't live in the number in your account. It lives in how you're spending money right now. Whether it's $1 million or $100, are you building real wealth, or are you building the illusion of it? That difference sometimes only reveals itself when it's already too late. If this story made you look at the way you handle money differently, share this video with someone you think needs to hear it today.